Streaks taking the field as they get ready for this pivotal matchup against the Mansfield Tigers, the Tigers with a Y. And as we get ready to go here, the Blue Streaks did win the toss. They deferred, so it's going to be Mansfield Seniors ball first. And Mansfield, a pretty diverse offense, Bill. They've got a running back who's rushed for over 1,200 yards. They've got a quarterback who's thrown for over 2,000 yards. And it was 3 long pass plays against Sandusky that put him on the board for 21 points. So offense that can hit you in a couple of different ways.
Well, that's what any coach would want to have with his team, a diversity, so that you can't load up in the box to try to stop the run, or you can't just rush 3 guys and drop 8 into the secondary. You want to be consistent in all phases of the game, that you can run the ball and throw the ball with consistency so that you keep the defense on their heels.
And as we get ready for kickoff, tonight's kickoff is brought to you by North Shore Running Store at 178 East Market Street in downtown Sandusky, offering the complete line of top brand running and walking shoes, along with apparel, accessories, gait analysis, nutritional items, and more. And for Mansfield, keep an eye on number 8. He is the District Defensive Player of the Year, Angelo Gross. He's a senior. He's going to be playing college football at Michigan State, so he'll never beat Ohio State, but I'm sure he'll have a tremendous career at Michigan State. He's a dangerous wide receiver, dangerous punt returner, kick returner, and as I mentioned, District Defensive Player of the Year.
He's got 15 touchdowns on the season, and from what I read in the Mansfield newspapers, I think that's a whole lot to get 15 touchdowns. Obviously, they haven't read Terry and Stewart's stats for the last couple of years, but you've got a guy that is very athletic. He can outrun people. He can outjump people. And you've got to account for him on every one of your teams, whether you're on offense, defense, or specialty teams. You have to know where that guy's at.
It will be Gross and Cyrus Ellerby back deep to receive, standing about their own 5-yard line, as Michael Franklin will tee it up and get ready to get us underway here to, I don't know if you would say longtime rivals, but definitely longtime foes, Mansfield and Sandusky. They've played each other non-conference for a long time. They were in the Buckeye Conference together for a long time as well, so definitely a good history between these two schools. And we are underway. Low line drive kick that is going to skip and go out of bounds, so Mansfield going to start with the ball at the 35-yard line.
Well, that was a good idea on that kickoff if that was done intentionally. Not that it went out of bounds, but it was low, hard line drive kickoff to try to keep it away from those 2 dangerous return guys. But unfortunately, it didn't get to the end zone. Instead, jumped out of bounds, and Mansfield's going to start at their own 35.
Mansfield will be led to the line of scrimmage by their quarterback, Cameron Todd. In the regular season, threw for 1,898 yards, threw for 18 touchdowns as well, completing about 72% of his passes. Now counting the playoffs, he's got 20 touchdown passes, and he has thrown for over 2,000 yards. The running back lining up in the backfield with him will be Terrence Flickinger, who has rushed for over 1,200 yards on the year. Mentioned Mansfield comes out of the Ohio Cardinal Conference. Of course, Sandusky out of the SBC Lake Division. Lake Division will have another representative in a regional final tomorrow night. It'll be the Clyde Flyers, the host school. And before the first snap, we are going to have a timeout called by the Sandusky Blue Streaks, and Coach Franklin not looking very happy on the sideline.
I was trying to pick up at what happened. One of the players was asked to come off the field by the official, and then he was replaced by another. And while they were doing that, I was counting, and I only came up with 9 guys on the field. So as that new player went in, that gave him 10. So the Streaks were short a player, and that's why Coach Franklin had to call the timeout. A little bit of confusion as to the personnel that should be out there on that first defense.
Real quick, we'll go through the Blue Streaks defense. You have London Havens, Phillip Hunter, and Dazion Wright on the defensive line. Rayshawn Redding, Vinny D'Amico, who is first team All-District, Demarion Dennison, and J.J. Henry at linebacker. Noah Caston, first team All-District, out there with Desmond Williams, Xavier Parker, and J.T. Lewis in the secondary. And we're about to have our first snap of the game. The handoff will go to Flickinger, and through a tackle of Lewis and out across the 40 to the 41 for a good gain on first down.
It still looked like the Streaks were not lined up where they wanted to be or needed to be in that series, and 3 guys just came off the field on a 2nd and short situation for the Tigers.
Mansfield right back to the line of scrimmage. Tight formation to the near side of the field. Low snap, they'll pitch it to Flickinger near side, and he is hit, and he is going to be dropped in the backfield, and there's Vinny D'Amico.
Yeah, you could just see that taking shape, that as soon as that ball was pitched and the linemen got into their blocks, D'Amico came on a little bit of a delayed blitz, a good read that was a run play to the outside, and just like a streak came flashing through to make the tackle.
So here we go, first 3rd down, and the Blue Streaks are the home team here today by position in the bracket, and so we are the home side of the field. We can feel the Blue Streaks fans stomping on the bleachers here. Another low snap, fading, now rolling to his right. It's Todd, pumps fakes and run out of bounds by Redding, and it is going to be 4th down for the Tigers.
And that had to be a credit to the secondary. Good coverage. There was nobody open for Todd to throw the ball to. And even with a bit of a blitz, as I think I saw Vinny D'Amico coming on the outside, gave the original pressure. Todd heard the footsteps and then rolled to the outside, but couldn't find anybody to throw the ball to.
Well, let's make sure they punt here. Remember, it was the Blue Streaks last week who got the 77-yard touchdown run on a fake punt. Xavier Parker standing back at right around his own 30-yard line waiting to receive this punt, and now a flag will come in. And did we have a delay of game?
I think the center called timeout, though, before the clock expired. I was just about to mention that they had an unbalanced line, and it was because one guy was lined up on the wrong side, and he tried to run to the other side. And while he was going across, I'm pretty sure I saw the center signal for a timeout. So we'll see what the official is going to give him.
The official is mic'd up here, so no flag. Well, so it was a timeout, Mansfield. So Bill Needham, sorry, we haven't even played 2 minutes and both teams have used the timeout already.
Just evens things out. They're both at a bit of disadvantages. We've gone through the first minute and a half of this ball game, but
Angelo Gross is the punter, so keep an eye on him here on this 4th down and 5. No pressure. He gets away a low punt that's going to hit and skip and take a Mansfield bounce down inside the 20, and it's going to keep rolling. Looks down to about the 16-yard line is where the Blue Streaks will start for their first time, and their offensive line will look like this. London Havens, Jeremiah Johnson, Dylan Pollard, Makai Brown, and Josh Midhour. Rayshawn Redding will be in there at tight end. Their receivers, JT Lewis, Xavier Parker, Noah Caston, Terrion Stewart, the running back, and Michael Franklin will be the quarterback.
I'm real interested in what the linemen are going to be able to do for the Blue Streaks. Mansfield has a big, strong, fast defensive line.
Handoff to Terrion Stewart, got the edge, and tripped up and brought down right around the 20-yard line, maybe just across the 20.
A good outside run by the Blue Streaks put a lot of pressure on the defense. And even though he's only going to pick up 4 yards, that's a pretty good gain to get 4 yards on first down. That's going to make Mansfield be aware of the outside and to see if they can commit some of their players to try to stop that outside run of the Blue Streaks.
Terrion Stewart, the number 23 all-time leading rusher in the state of Ohio now, and he's rushed for at least 245 yards in their last 4 straight games. So he's got himself on a pretty good roll after being banged up quite a bit early in the year. And this time they will direct snap it to him, and he'll take it to the right side, and not going to find a whole lot of room over there. And it's going to be 3rd and long for the Blue Streaks.
I hate to correct you, Mike. He only needed 3 yards to move up 1 spot to the 22 spot, so he got it on that first carry.
Well, there you go. Well, not a whole lot of yardage on that 2nd down carry, so it is going to be 3rd and looks like about 6 here for the Blue Streaks.
And right now, for those first couple of plays, the Blue Streak offensive line is doing their job. They're getting off the ball and into Mansfield.
Now a direct snap to Noah Caston, who takes it out across the 25, and we'll see where they officially spot this. Had to get
to be right
to
at
about
the
the 26, so
Sorry,
it's going to
Mike.
be about a yard short.
Yeah, he's going to be a yard short. Got just to the 25. Was checking the linesman on this side of the field. And it looks like it's going to be punt time for the Blue Streaks.
So Michael Franklin will come in to punt it away. Gross is dropping back just across midfield and now inside of his own 45-yard line. Play clock is all the way down to 3 already, and the Blue Streaks had to run someone on the field late. The ball got snapped into the end zone, and Franklin will just take out the back of the end zone and take a safety, and that is our first score of the game. It is going to be a safety, and Mansfield will lead it 2-0.
Again, it was a matter of confusion. The Streaks were short a player on their punt unit. While they were trying to get the player on the field, the center must have heard something because he snapped the ball. And no one was prepared to take the snap, and that ball rolls all the way back to the end zone, and Franklin did the smart thing, picked it up, and carried it across the end line.
Under the weather, but don't feel like leaving home? Try Firelands Virtual Care. It's care at your fingertips. Visit firelands.com/virtual care to download the app and get started. We will keep it here as the Blue Streaks will get ready to take the free kick. And it's been a weird start to this game, Bill Needham, as we've had both teams have had to use the timeout. Really, Sandusky probably could have used the timeout there and saved themselves, but a snap the punter wasn't ready for, and it ends up being a safety.
Yeah, I'm not sure they wanted to take that timeout there, but leave yourself with one through the rest of the half. So even if you took the penalty there, it would have been okay. The fact that that ball was snapped when no one was prepared for it really complicated matters and gave Mansfield this first early lead.
Well, now Gross and Ellerby standing right around their own 25-yard line, and looks like Michael Franklin is going to punt this one away and gets pretty good height on that one. Kicks it away from Gross. Ellerby fumbled it back to the 30-yard line, chases it down, and it'll be brought down right at the 30. So all things considered, that worked out okay for the Blue Streaks, minus the 2 points they gave up.
And also almost got the opportunity to recover that fumble. If that had bounced away, that bounced hard away from Ellerby. And the Blue Streaks were hustling to get down. But, you know, this is a regional championship game. And right now you're seeing a lot of nerves taking place for these young men as they're trying to get themselves into the game a little bit and feeling a little bit uneasy in their situation. Hopefully they'll settle down here and start playing ball. Forget about the hype. Let's get into playing your game.
So here we go. Tigers with 3 receivers to the near side of the field. And they'll have a tight end lined up on the left side of the line. Had a quick officials timeout. Cameron Todd, the quarterback, 6 foot, 210 pounds is what they list him as.
There's a receiver wide open in the slot for Mansfield, and that's the guy they threw the ball to.
That's Gross on the quick little flare screen there, and he's going to get it across the 30 to maybe the 33-yard line.
The safety was over the center. He was in the middle of the field, a long way away from that formation.
Streaks did a nice job holding that to just a 3-yard gain, though. 3.5 yards. It looks like down there on the field as they're almost right in front of us here in the press box. If they could just stay here, Bill, we'd see everything perfectly.
Yeah, you're right. We're going to have to cringe our necks when they get closer to the scoreboard.
Flickinger will take it over the left side, and he'll have the first down of the game for the Tigers across the 45 to about the 47-yard line.
Boy, did he accelerate once he turned that corner, found that little bit of a crease on the outside, and then just accelerated to pick up that first down.
They'll set the chains and wind the clock. 1st and 10. Mansfield just shy of midfield. And this time they'll have 3 receivers to the near side of the field. Out of the pistol formation. Now they'll shift out of the pistol. Read by the quarterback. He's going to tuck it. He's going to run, and he's going to be close to another first down into blue streak territory, down at about the 43, which would give him a first down.
That was a very nice read by Cameron Todd. You could see how he was looking for the defensive lineman to see where his charge was going. And as soon as the lineman took that step out towards the running back, he pulled the ball back off his stomach, tucked it away, and picked up the 10 yards.
So they marked him just shy. Second down and looks like less than one. Todd takes a snap, fading to pass. Pumping, now pressure coming from behind. He's going to roll. He's going to have the first down, and he'll get out of bounds just shy of the 35-yard line. So the drive continues here for Mansfield.
And again, excellent coverage by the Blue Streaks in the secondary. Todd twice had tried to load that gun up in to throw that ball downfield, but nowhere to go with it.
You know, that was the one area. Sandusky had a lot of players coming back this year, but one area they had to kind of replenish was the secondary. They did have Xavier Parker and Noah Kasten back, but lost their two cornerbacks from last year. Trips to the top of the field now. Flickinger, left side, big hole, puts his head down, running through tackles inside the 25-yard line, and the chains will continue to move.
Right now, the old momentum, and we talked about with some of the Sandusky coaches before the game that this is a game of momentum. If you can pick up that early feeling that you're in control of the game because of something that goes good for you, that makes a big difference in the ball game. And right now, Old Mo is on the sides of the Tigers.
Looks like about the 23 is where they marked that. Sixth play of the drive coming up for Mansfield. Turn and another give to Flickinger, this time over the right side, and he's going to get down to about the 15-yard line. Vinny D'Amico was in there on the tackle.
Again, a quick hitter with Flickinger. He sees that opening. He's in it within a second, and then he's past the level of linemen and into the linebackers already. Right now, it looks like the Blue Streaks are a little bit on their heels. The defensive line is not making penetration on their charge. The linebackers are having to do a lot of work 5, 6, 7 yards down the field.
Flickinger again, and not as much room this time, but didn't need that much room. Looking at the spot, looks like, are they going to give it to him? No, looks like they're going to mark him just shy, so it's going to be third and about a yard.
With this type of offense, 3rd and 1 is an ideal down and distance position for a team to be in.
Yeah, you almost think here you take a shot at the end zone knowing that you can come back and go for it on 4th and 1. We'll see what happens. Trips to the top of the field. They'll give it to Flickinger. He's hit right near the line of scrimmage, kept those legs driving though, and down inside the 10 near the 9-yard line is going to be a 1st and goal here for Mansfield.
It looked like there were 2 holes in that play in the Streaks defense, both to the right and left, and he ran into the big pile of bodies in the middle.
1st and goal, Tigers. They got on the board first with the safety, trying to add on here. Again, out of the pistol with trips to the top of the field, tight end to the near side. Quarterback going to keep it this time, and he is going to be wrapped up, and he is going to be pulled down back near the 10-yard line. Great defensive play that time by the Blue Streaks. That was right in there on the tackle. And we have a Blue Streak down on the field, and we will take a quick break. We'll be back. Mansfield on the drive. D'Amico able to get off the field under his own power. And 2nd and goal from the 10. They fake the jet sweep. They give it to Flickinger, who dances his way down inside the 5-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and goal.
And a very big play here for the Blue Streaks defense. A 3rd down and goal. They've got to keep Mansfield out of the end zone. Force them into a field goal attempt.
Mansfield going to bring extra bodies into the backfield now, as they'll have 3 backs in the back. Full house under center. Todd Turn gives it to Flickinger. Hesitation move and towards the end zone, into the end zone. Touchdown Mansfield. And they are in the end zone for the first time, adding on to that safety already, and they lead it 8-0.
That's the old-fashioned power eye offense with the tailback and a fullback in front of them and a halfback to lead. And they go with the isolation, send the 2 backs in on the linebacker, create that opening to pick up the touchdown.
So that ends up being an 11-play, 70-yard scoring drive. And they will attempt the extra point to try and tack another one on, and that is line drive right through the middle. So that'll make it 9-0 in favor of Mansfield with 2:45 still to play here in the opening quarter. We'll take a break. Well, 2:45 still to play in the opening quarter. Blue Streaks now trailing it 9-0 after a safety and a touchdown scored by Mansfield, and a bit of a squib there. And look at the Blue Streaks with the nice return over midfield, and stumbling out of bounds on the far side near the 40, inside the 40, I believe was JT Lewis who picked that one up. So great field position for the Streaks.
Usually when you get a ball bouncing on the carpet like that, it kind of destroys the timing of the blocking up front. But in that particular instance, the Streaks opened up a nice hole, and Lewis accelerated through it, returned that ball all the way out to the Mansfield 38-yard line. Good field position to start. Now they got to make something happen.
Blue Streaks will have Franklin lined up in the empty backfield momentarily. And they will have Henry and Caston to the far side of the field. Terrion Stewart is as a slot to the near side. They motion Caston. They give it to him on the jet sweep, and he has his legs cut out from under him, but he dives forward for a gain, well, maybe 2.
And I think that probably was a setup play, a design to see what comes next off of it. Not every play is designed to be a touchdown. Sometimes you use a play to set up your next play.
Now trips to the top of the field. Stewart will be in the backfield to the left of Franklin. About to hit the 2-minute mark here in their opening quarter. They'll give it to Stewart, and he's going to be hit and wrapped up right near the 35-yard line. Not a lot of running room early on for Terrion.
Quick reaction by the safety to come up and fill, which means right now it looks like Mansfield's trying to commit extra players into the box to try to stop Terrion Stewart.
Blue Streaks did a nice job moving the ball through the air against Norwalk last week as well. Quite a few passes completed on out routes to Noah Caston.
Now, that was the first thing that came to my mind. When you get that many people coming up to the line of scrimmage, you got to go play action. make them take that step up to believe that it's going to be a run, and then go ahead and throw it up over the above them.
Lewis to the near side of the field. Franklin's going to take the snap and take off, and he is going to lose a yard as that play is blown up by Avion Gross, a sophomore, and it's going to be 4th down for the Blue Streaks.
The Streaks were under pressure by the clock that time. The play clock was down to 1 second when the ball got snapped.
Ends up being a loss of a yard, and Blue Streaks, at least momentarily, still have their offense out there on the field. Kind of in that no man's land, too long for a field goal, but too close to punt. So here we go, 4th down and about 8 from the 36-yard line.
Again, the Streaks are having trouble getting lined up, and they're going to have to call a timeout. Second one of the game.
Well, Coach Franklin not too happy down there with what's going on early on here. 31 seconds to go in the opening quarter, and it's been a little bit sloppy for the Blue Streaks, and that's stuff that we didn't see last week from Sandusky. And this broadcast also brought to you by Sandusky Door and Hearth, the area's most trusted garage door professionals. But Bill, Blue Streaks were in this game last year in the regional final, so you wouldn't think that the kids would be intimidated by being in a game of this magnitude. But early on, not the penalties, but just some sloppy play.
Well, it's the mental approach to it. It's not the physically making mistakes. It's just mentally not into assignments, knowing who should be on the field, what personnel need to be out there, and where you need to be added. They added an extra receiver, and he had to go all the way across the field to the wideout position instead of just bumping somebody over and let him play the slot. And I don't know if they practiced that. That was something we practiced, that everybody played all the positions and know what the routes were so that you wouldn't have to waste that time running that guy all the way out to the widest split end spot.
Here we go on 4th down. Franklin fades, fires, and incomplete. Looking for Xavier Parker. Would have had the first down, but
got a false
couldn't
start.
Pull it in.
False start before the play started. So the Streaks are going to get a replay at it. Well, that was 4th down, wasn't it? Oh, it was before the play, so
yeah.
they can't turn it down. So they're going to have to march that off, and the Streaks can try it now. They're going to punt it.
So this will mark him back to the 41-yard line.
That's too bad. When you get the ball to start with it, your opponent's 38-yard line. You've got to be able to move that ball forward. Get yourself in a position to score, especially after Mansfield had scored the safety and then the touchdown.
Mansfield going to play punt safe defense here. Michael Franklin is the punter.
All right, you got your quarterback back there. You've got to keep that in the back of your mind that there is a possibility of a fake. And really, you're going to get the ball in bad field position anyhow, so they're not putting anybody back. They're going to cover all the wideouts and play it safe.
Blue Streaks did run a fake punt for a touchdown last week, as that punt will hit just shy of the 10, takes a good bounce, and will be touched down all the way down, maybe even inside the 1-yard line. Good coverage there by the Blue Streaks. "21 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. And I guess, Bill, that's the give and take. You want to play punt safe defense, but there's no one back there to keep that ball from rolling inside the 10-yard line.
And Mike Franklin did an excellent job. He looked to see where everybody was at, and he kicked the ball, didn't put full leg into it, put the ball down there where his teammates could hustle down and down the ball. And one thing you have to remember, Mike, that ball is not dead because it was touched. You have to down the ball, stop it from moving in order to get the whistle blown. If somebody had come along and picked the ball up, that ball was live. They could have ran with it.
Todd will go under center with that full house backfield in front of him again, and he'll just push forward to try and get some room, and they will get some room out across the 5-yard line to the 6-yard line. And that might be the last play of the first quarter, as we're down to 10 seconds to play in the quarter and rolling.
You can't go in against that offensive line and try to stand up and out-muscle them. you've got to go down low and create piles so that he has to go over the top of you.
Well, that will do it for the first quarter of play. So far, it's Mansfield who's in control. They lead it 9-0. About to get the second quarter underway in this Division III Region 10 Regional Championship. The winner of this one is going to take on the winner of Aurora and Chardon in a state semifinal game.
We assume.
Well, that was already paired by, yeah, that was already paired up by the state.
That was my assumption with the Northeast and Northwest teams being relatively
Fading
so
to
close.
pass, Todd fires deep downfield and incomplete out at the 45-yard line as they were trying to hit Gross down the sideline. Good coverage by J.T. Lewis and Xavier Parker back there as well.
Lewis, excellent man-to-man coverage as he ran with the receiver down the field. And Parker came in as the safety, had the inside coverage, so well done by the Streaks on that play.
Yeah, you can't ask for much better if you're Coach Franklin covering a kid who's going to be playing Saturdays at Michigan State. J.T. Lewis going stride for stride with him. Of course, J.T. Lewis wearing the number 5 that Javez Alexander wore, who's now at Michigan State. And another timeout, this time by Mansfield. So now, Bill, both teams have used 2 timeouts here as we are early in the second quarter. And I guess both teams have really been a little bit sloppy here early on. Mansfield, the beneficiary, though, of the punt snap that goes into the end zone and they get the safety. But I don't want to say that it's nerves, but it's definitely not the cleanest game that either one of these two teams have played.
Yeah, Mansfield is playing in their first regional final in the history of their school. So, yeah, it is nerves. No one wants to make that big mistake that's going to cost your team this championship. Everybody wants to play it tight. I'm sure the community was all fired up in both towns throughout the week. Coaches prep the guys in the locker room before they come out. They're ready to go. Sometimes there's too much adrenaline flowing through the body. Sometimes you have to learn to relax and just play your game.
Todd back under center. Stretch handoff, and nice job there by the defense. Good to see number 27 back out there. Vinny D'Amico in there with a host of Blue Streaks on the tackle back at the 5-yard line. So that'll bring up a 4th down, and Mansfield going to have to punt out of the back of their end zone.
And it was the penetration of the defensive line of the Blue Streaks. Philip Hunter, I think, was the guy I saw here at that right tackle for the Blue Streaks, the guy that got in the backfield, caused the runner to cut to the inside, and now Mansfield's going to have to punt.
Xavier Parker standing at about his own 40. Just looking at the flag out there, not a whole lot of wind to speak of on a chilly night, and not a great punt. Parker will field it on a hop at about the 41-yard line, and a flag came in. Xavier's going to go down at about the 35. We'll see what the flag is, but most likely, as quickly as it was thrown, that is going to be some sort of illegal block against the Blue Streaks.
Official signaling holding. So great field position is going to be turned into just good field position because of that penalty.
Sandusky still going to start on the Mansfield side of the ball, but it'll be from the 45-yard line. So Belt for the second straight possession. They're going to start in plus territory here. Let's see if they can get on the board this time.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got that good field position. You've got to make something happen, especially now when you're behind.
Back on either side of Franklin, that is Henry to his right and Stewart to his left. They'll give it to Terrion Stewart straight up the middle, and he'll get 2, maybe 3 yards. Second and 8 coming up.
Big number 54, Anthony Hawkins, in the middle of the defensive line for Mansfield. 6 foot 270.
Yeah, he's a big dude. I wouldn't want him falling on top of me. This time they'll motion Stewart out of the backfield. They'll give it to J.J. Henry. Starts up the middle, tries to bounce it outside, and Mansfield Tigers looking quick on defense early on. They shut that one down.
It looked like Henry was trying to find a hole and bounce to the outside. And one of the things you have to teach young kids is to stay with the blockers, stay in the intended hole.
Third and long for the Blue Streaks. They mark him down to the 42, so 3rd and 7. Parker and Cast into the near side of the field. 2 receivers up to the top as well. Mansfield showing blitz. Here they come. Franklin pumps, has some room to run. Flags come in from behind him. Franklin would have the first down, but penalty flags back in the backfield. And it is going to be a hold against the Blue Streaks.
So you wipe out that big gain by Mike Franklin. Streaks are going to move the ball back into their own territory now.
They'll put it down at the Sandusky 45-yard line.
And you talked about it earlier, Mike. It's the penalties. Against this team last time, they committed, I think you said 18 penalties. And again, a number of penalties are starting to build up in every possession. Picking up a penalty, moving the ball back, and putting you behind the chains, making it difficult for the offense. You limit your playbook. And again, personnel not in the right spots, but they have plenty of time.
It is now 3rd and 20. Again, Mansfield creeping up with that linebacker. This time he'll drop into coverage, and Franklin will fire deep down the sideline. Has a receiver out there caught inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Blue Streaks on a 3rd and 20. Noah Caston.
I'll tell you what, Mike, there were 2 beautiful parts of that play. One, Franklin threw a tremendous pass that was like dropping it into the bucket. And Noah Caston, my man, that guy caught the impossible pass. He put that on his fingertips and then took it into the end zone.
Well, that ends up being a 3-play, 45-yard scoring drive, but with a 55-yard touchdown pass, thanks to the penalty. But Blue Streaks needed that one.
Mansfield's late running guys on the field. Now they got too many on the field. Streaks should have just snapped the ball.
And the extra point is going to be blocked. Looking to see if there's any flags out there. Doesn't look like it is. Mansfield must have got everyone off the field in time. So it'll be Mansfield 9, Sandusky on the board now as it is 9-6. We'll take a break. Blue Streaks back to within 3 after the 55-yard touchdown pass from Franklin to Caston. Extra point was blocked. So it is Mansfield 9 and Sandusky 6. Michael Franklin to kick it away to the Tigers again. And this one will be fielded at about the 5-yard line. This time they kicked it to Gross, and he's weaving his way through traffic out across the 35 and brought down shy of the 40. This broadcast also brought to you by the Sandusky Mall. Experience it all at the Sandusky Mall. Well, the Blue Streaks needed that. Could have used that extra point too, Bill Needham, but they'll take the points.
You're right. A couple of things came into play. One was getting that extra player on the field for Mansfield, and maybe going for 2 if you get the penalty to move it down to just outside the 1-yard line. The other one was kick it up there so that if you get a chance for a field goal, that could put you ahead. Now that field goal will only get you a tie.
Out of the pistol formation with 2 receivers to the top of the field, they'll hand it right up the middle to Flickinger, who gets his head down and puts himself out to about the 41-yard line.
And on that kickoff, you have a good idea why Sandusky wanted to go with the squibs in the boot, the line drive boot earlier. That guy's dangerous when he gets the ball in his hands. And Gross, as you said, was bobbing and weaving and setting up blocks to get good field position for the Tigers.
Again, into the pistol with 2 receivers in a slot to the top of the field. They'll give it to Flickinger again. This time the Blue Streak defense right there as he is stacked up near the line of scrimmage. In there on the tackle, big number 58 again.
It's Philip Hunter.
Or was that a 56? Yeah, 58, Hunter.
Yeah, Philip Hunter is doing a tremendous job so far on the defensive line. He's beating the left tackle for Mansfield.
3rd down and long. See if the Streaks can get a stop here and get off the field.
Keelan Wyndham for Mansfield. 5'10", 293 at that left tackle spot.
Penalty flag comes in. They called an offsides on the offense as
lined up in the neutral zone. The tight end.
So that'll make it 3rd down and 11 now. As we are back to the 37-yard line.
That's Clay Caudle, who's out as a wide receiver now. 6'2", 235. That's a pretty big wide receiver.
Empty backfield for Todd. Fires down the middle of the field. Has a receiver out there. Couldn't pull it in, but a flag will be thrown on the Blue Streaks as that was Redding all the way downfield in coverage. And this will be a 15-yard penalty, which will give Mansfield a 1st and 10.
Boy, that was good coverage. It looked like both guys had their hands on each other. A little bit of hand fighting as they ran down the field. I don't think anybody got an advantage because of that contact. And remember, that's from the previous spot.
That'll take it to the Sandusky 48-yard line. So Mansfield into plus territory, 1st and 10. Took the official a couple minutes to decide where he was going to spot the football, but they found a nice spot for it, a good home, I guess. 7:19 to play here in the 2nd quarter. 4 receivers to the top of the field, 1 in the near side. Again, empty backfield. D'Amico coming on a late blitz. Rollout pass is complete inside the 45 and tackled out there by J.J. Henry. On the reception for the Tigers is Avion Gross.
And that was excellent coverage by Henry. Closed on the receiver and made a good wrap-up tackle. Prevented any extra yardage.
2nd and 6 coming up for Mansfield. Mansfield going to go empty backfield again. This time 4 receivers to the near side.
That inside slot receiver is covered by a linebacker. They're going to
They'll
bubble.
Swing it out. Flickinger looking for room to run, and he's going to be grabbed by Redding and pulled backwards. It is going to be 3rd down again for the Tigers. 3rd and probably about 5.
And I'm sure that was the type of matchup that Mansfield wanted to get, to have a linebacker chase their star running back to the outside, but Redding made the big play.
They mark him down just inside the 42. So 3rd and a short 5, long 4, depending on how you want to look at it. Todd going to go under center this time. They motion Gross. They give it to him on the jet sweep. And he's going to be eaten up in the backfield. Noah Caston came up and made the tackle.
What an open field tackle by Noah Caston. Looked like the Tigers had a little bit of problems with that handoff, but Caston run all the way and shot up like he was coming out of a cannon. Made that tackle.
They mark him all the way back to the 48 on the tackle, so it's going to bring up a 4th and 10 for Mansfield, and they will bring their punt team on. But keep in mind, Angelo Gross is the punter. Xavier Parker standing at about his own 25 for the Blue Streaks. Got away a booming punt over Parker's head, and it'll hit and roll into the end zone. So with 4:59 and a timeout, the Blue Streaks will have it 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, trailing by 3. Well, they had to help Terrion Stewart off the field, so it is Desmond Williams in there, and he'll get the carry, and it looks like he got a 1st down for the Blue Streaks. They'll move the chains as he got out to about the 31-yard line. First and 10, Sandusky Blue Streaks. About to hit the 4-minute mark.
Again, I'm trying to keep my eyes on the middle of that defense. The big guy in the middle is Juwan Irving, 6'4", 385 pounds. So far, the Blue Streaks with Pollard at center and Johnson and Brown at the guards have been able to handle him.
Franklin, little read option there as the RPO, and there's Noah Caston bouncing it outside across midfield and out of bounds at the Mansfield 45-yard line.
The catch and run by Noah Caston was outstanding, but don't forget, I think it was number 3 for the Blue Streaks, Roldan, that made a great block in the corner, took out 2 of the Mansfield defenders, and allowed Caston to get down that sideline to pick up another 1st down.
Clock stopped with 3:34 to play here in the 2nd quarter. Trips to the top of the field. Xavier Parker all by himself down here at the bottom. Mansfield showing blitz. Here they come. Handoff to Williams, and he's going to be swallowed up. Going to be a short loss for the Blue Streaks.
That was one of the defensive tackles, 53, Tyler Gross, 6'3", 280. Boy, they've got some big men in that defensive line for Mansfield.
Don't tell them we've got pizza up here in the press box. They'll come up and eat it all.
Well, maybe we should tell them, then they'd leave the field. You got to feed those big boys.
Inside of 3 minutes and rolling now in the second quarter. Franklin fires wide of the target, looking for Noah Caston on the far side of the field, and that'll stop the clock. 2:49, but it'll be 3rd and 11.
I think that one got tipped at the line of scrimmage, Mike. One of the defensive linemen who couldn't get pressure on Franklin because of the quick 3-step drop that did as most linemen are taught. Get your hands up, get in the vision of the quarterback, or possibly knock a pass down.
Blue Streaks will flip their formation, and now they'll have Parker by himself to the top of the field and trips to the near side. They motion Caston. Pressure coming. Franklin will fire down the middle of the field looking for Lewis, and incomplete, almost intercepted. Good coverage out there by Titus Arrington.
And Lewis had to turn into a defensive back. He was trying to make the over-the-shoulder catch, but realized the ball wasn't coming to him, and when he saw the defender just getting ready to make the interception, he bumped him off the play to cause the incomplete pass.
Good outside rush that time by Donovan Haney for Mansfield Tigers. Now Franklin in there in punt formation. And did we have a timeout called, or is this an official's timeout? Maybe official's timeout. Equipment issue for Gross. Looks like they're bringing him off the field. And Mansfield will have to send someone else back there as a returner, and it looks like it'll be Ellerby. Well, now they're going to just roll up and play punt safe defense again.
Yeah, they're going to fake you out again, Mike. They're going to send the guy back.
Make up your minds. Punt is away by Franklin. It's going to hit and take another Blue Streak bounce, and it's going to die just shy of the 10 at the 11. So 2:35 left to play here in the second quarter. Mansfield will have it at their own 11-yard line and one timeout to work with.
And the use of the timeouts early in the ball game put both of the teams in a little bit of jeopardy in the final few seconds of this first half.
We'll see how aggressive Mansfield is here, Bill. You would wonder if you just go into halftime with this 9-6 lead. You don't want to turn it over on your end of the field here.
Well, I'm thinking they're going to put the ball in the hands of Flickinger. They've got an outstanding running back and a guy that can hit the home run. But they're not going to just sit on the ball. They're going to try to find and break something big.
They'll have 3 receivers to the top of the field. And they're going to run a quick little screen to Gross on the near side. Got past the initial tackler and got out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark him right near the 20-yard line. They'll stop the clock with 2:30 to play.
So, of course, they come out and throw the ball instead of handing the ball off. But a safe pass, quick to the outside where the cushion was given.
And again, they've got Gross all by himself down here on the bottom of the field with trips to the top. Lewis, the cornerback here on the near side, and this time they'll get it to Ellerby on the top side of the field, and he'll be hit and thrown down right about the 21-yard line, which should give Mansfield a first down depending on the spot, and they will move the chains.
And that was J.J. Henry who came up, made the stop, gave up the first down, but it was only 1 yard to go, and Mansfield was trying to hit a bigger play there. So great job by Henry making that open field tackle.
Ticking down near 2 minutes to play, quarter number 2. Todd again fades. This time he'll fire down the middle of the field. Has a receiver. Big hit by Xavier Parker, but not before Avion Gross pulls it in near the Blue Streak 47-yard line. Or excuse me, the Mansfield 47-yard line.
And the Streak secondary giving good cushion, keeping the ball in front of them, and then making the break on the ball once it's up in the air. The clock is running.
Todd will have Flickinger behind him in the pistol formation. 2 receivers on either side. Todd again fades, rolling away from pressure, and he will fire it down the sideline and incomplete to stop the clock with 1:24 to play.
I'm surprised Mansfield didn't draw a flag on that play. D'Amico came on the blitz. It looked like he was pushed from behind, taken down on the charge, but no call by the official. Usually when you take a defensive player to the ground, it's almost an automatic holding call.
9-6 the lead for Mansfield. Blue Streaks trying to keep him from adding on. Inside screen to Gross. And he gets it across midfield, tackled inbound, shy of the first down, so the clock will roll. They will mark him at the Sandusky 47. So it'll be 3rd down and right around 3.
Streaks are sending 4 linemen.
Another little quick screen out wide to Avion Gross. He's got the first down, brought down inbounds at about the 40, so the clock will start moving again once they get the chain set. But it is a 1st and 10.
It's good offense by Mansfield to dink the ball down the field and move along, but the Streaks are doing the right thing of keeping them in front of them and not allowing the big break.
35 and rolling. Todd steps up, fires deep. Oh, he pushed off on Noah Caston, and they got the flag. That is going to be offensive interference. We are wiping out this touchdown pass to Ellerby. It is offensive interference against Ellerby as he clearly pushed off on the defender.
Caston was in perfect position, and I think he was geared to pick that one off at that time, but it was the push that allowed the pass to be completed. So that's going to be a big penalty, move Mansfield back.
From the line of scrimmage, which was the 39-yard line, so they will move the Tigers all the way back into their own territory at the 46-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 25. There's offensive interference, lost a down.
No. Repeat the first down.
All right, 1st and 25 with 27 seconds left. Todd takes a snap, pumps one way, comes back to the other side, and read well by the Streaks defense, but they missed the tackle. Gross in open field, brought down back near the original line of scrimmage at the 39-yard line. And Mansfield going to use their last timeout with 15 seconds to play in the half.
Now that's something we have not seen yet in this ball game. The Streaks missed tackles, one on the original screen and one further on downfield. But they kept them inbounds, they kept the clock running and forced Mansfield to take their timeout. Now, they're such a long way away, there's no chance for a field goal here. So they got to figure they've got 2, maybe 3 plays in the last 15 seconds that have got to go to the sidelines or the end zone. You can't afford to throw anything into the middle of the field.
Mansfield got on the board first on a safety. It was a Blue Streak snap when they were in punt formation that I don't think Michael Franklin was ready for. The play clock was running out, ball rolled into the end zone, and they had to take the safety. Mansfield then scored a touchdown and converted on the extra point, and we're up 9-0 before the Blue Streaks got on the board on a 55-yard touchdown pass, Franklin to Caston. 2nd and 10. Todd, far side of the field. Ball popped loose. Blue Streak stripped it away, and they turned over the Mansfield Tigers. Great play over on the far side of the field. I believe that was Desmond Williams who made the tackle and stripped the ball away.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. It was Williams, and that was a huge play for the Streaks. They can get this ball into the halftime. I think it's time to take a knee and go into the locker room and get together and do a little talking between the players and the coaches.
So the Blue Streaks turn Mansfield over at their own 29-yard line. 8 seconds left to play in the second quarter, and the Blue Streaks will line up and just take the knee, and we will head to halftime. So in this Division III Region 10 championship game, we've hit the half, and it is Mansfield with the lead. They lead Sandusky 9-6 on BCSN. Thank you to Matthews Ford in Sandusky. When you make it Matthews, we make it happen. Stop by for a test drive. And right now the Blue Streak's going to have to make something happen. It's halftime and they trail it 9-6. Mike Lilgy and Bill Needham with you. And Bill, Blue Streak's going to get the ball first coming out in the third quarter, but up against it a little bit. Going to be without Terrion Stewart for the remainder of the game. So they're going to have to find offense from other places.
That's probably the hardest thing for Sandusky right now, is to get over that mental blow that they've taken, realizing that Terrion Stewart is not going to be there. But there are a lot of talented kids out there for the Sandusky Blue Streaks. So there's potential to make big plays. Stat-wise, Sandusky's been blown out in this game. But on the scoreboard, they're not. They're within one score of taking the lead and possibly winning the ball game. I looked at first downs. Mansfield's got 8, Sandusky's got 3. Total yards, Mansfield has 158, Sandusky has 99. Total offensive plays, Mansfield ran 30 plays, Sandusky only 17. Time of possession, Mansfield almost 15 minutes, Sandusky 9. So they've had the ball longer, they've had more plays, they've got more yards, but the difference is that they're only down 3 points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you look at some of the individual numbers, and for Mansfield, Flickinger, 12 carries, 61 yards. The leading rusher for the Blue Streaks, 5 carries, 16 yards, is Terrion Stewart. Cameron Todd is 10 of 12 for 84 yards. Michael Franklin, 2 of 4 for 79 yards, one of those a 55-yard touchdown. Receiving, Angelo Gross, 5 receptions for 43 yards for Sandusky. Noah Caston, 2 catches for 79 yards and a touchdown. And really, Bill Needham, the difference right now, a blocked extra point and a bad snap on a punt. So some special teams errors for the Blue Streaks. Otherwise, we're looking at a tie game here.
No, you're right, Mike. That was the difference in the ball game. That we talked about momentum and early mental attitude that a team develops. That safety made a big difference in this ball game. It not only affected the scoreboard, but it affected the players on the field. And Sandusky has got to feel good about being in this game, although they're going to have to do it without Terrion Stewart.
Well, we'll take a break and come back with the start of the third quarter. At the half, it is Mansfield 9, Sandusky 6. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Blue Streaks will have the ball first, trailing by 3, and they will be heading towards the scoreboard. Again, looking at the flag out there, not much wind to speak of tonight on a chilly evening at about 33 degrees here tonight. But really all three of Sandusky's playoff games have been played in these conditions, but it was a weird week, Bill. We were up to about 55 degrees yesterday, and today we're back down at 33 degrees.
And last week they were shoveling snow off the field to get a practice in, but come game time, they've been cold nights, but clear and very little wind, so it doesn't feel as cold. And of course the players, once they warm up and get out on the field, that cold doesn't bother them at all. So as long as there's no precipitation and no wind, they're ready to play.
Well, that one squibbed directly out of bounds, so the Blue Streaks will have good field position here to start the third quarter. And as we mentioned, at halftime is going to be without Terrion Stewart. He's down on the sideline, had him on crutches, shoulder pads off. So Blue Streaks going to have to rally without their all-time leading rusher in school history.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame. That's not the way you want your career to possibly end if the Blue Streaks aren't able to pull this one out. But at least he's here. That's a good sign. There was some rumors going around that he had been taken to the hospital, possibly his season being over, no matter what the Streaks did. But right now they've got to concentrate on the field and try to pick up some first downs and get in the end zone.
They motion Noah Casson. They fake it to him, and they'll give it to Desmond Williams going back the other way. And Williams will take it out to about the 38-yard line.
The good thing is a lot of these other running backs for Sandusky have gotten some play experience. They've been in games when it really counted, not just the mop-up time at the end of the ball game. They played significant plays, so they're ready to step up and carry the mail.
Yeah, early in the year, Terrion Stewart was battling that ankle injury. Only had 7 carries in their opening game against Padua. I think only had 7 carries in that second game as well. So the Blue Streaks got some experience back there, and this time it's Desmond Williams running right into the arms of Anthony Hawkins, and he's going to be thrown. Well, looks like he did get back to the line of scrimmage at the 38-yard line. Was going to say thrown for a loss. So 3rd and about 7.
Hawkins is only 6 foot compared to those other guys on that line. 270.
He got some beef up front, that's for sure. Franklin will have trips to the near side of the field. One receiver up top is Xavier Parker. Franklin looking that way, gets it to Parker, made the catch. That'll be a first down for the Blue Streaks out across the 45 near the 47.
And that was first down by forward progress, not the stretch, even though Parker did a nice job of trying to extend his body to pick that play up. The Streaks had the first down.
1st and 10 Sandusky, so they move the chains, keep the drive going.
And they may have to include Mike Franklin a little bit more in the offense here. They're going to have to dink and dunk, maybe run a few plays, some counters, try to take advantage of the big size of Mansfield up front.
Williams couldn't step through a tackle as he is brought down in the backfield that time by Robertson. He's a junior, listed at 5'10", 205.
Watching the battle at the line of scrimmage between the all-district player, Clyde Caudle, who's going to Toledo next year, 6'2", 235 defensive end. He's not a big defensive end compared to those other guys on the line, but he is quick.
Again, trips to the bottom of the field. Franklin this time will step up, look for room to run, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield and back in the Sandusky side of the field at the 49-yard line.
London Havens at the left tackle spot is matched up against Caudle. Did a great job of riding him past the quarterback on that play. You find these Mansfield defenders, they fly to the football. So the Streak's going to have to stick with their blocks, get on them, and stay with them. Let the back make the cut.
So from the 44, now 3rd and 13. 6th play of the drive. Franklin fades, fires deep right side, a little bit underthrown, but almost got through to JT Lewis anyhow. Incomplete. It'll bring up a 4th down.
It went from almost intercepted to almost completed. And I think Lewis thought he had it, or at least he thought he should have had it. The ball was into his hands.
Well, Franklin will drop back into punt formation. Mansfield will have Gross standing back at about his own 20. Little bit of pressure, got the punt away. Nice spiraling kick. It'll hit and can't down it inside the 5. It'll skip into the end zone. So the Tigers will start their first possession of the 3rd quarter from the 20-yard line with 8:35 to play.
That's a case where you don't want to control the ball and let it carry you into the end zone. You wanted to try to hit that ball backwards, but that's something that you have to work on. Coach is telling them down on the sidelines, just scoot it backwards a little bit instead of trying to cover it like it's a fumble.
No one has more trucks than Pat O'Brien Chevrolet with over 700 pickups and 100 heavy duties. Pat O'Brien's selection saves you time and money. 1st and 10 Tigers. Out of the pistol formation, and the quarterback turned the wrong way maybe, but good gain out across the 30 for Todd. I'm not sure if the running back went the wrong way or he turned the wrong way, but it worked out.
I was watching the defensive line for the Streaks. They controlled their gaps very well. They were in the right spots. The linebackers have to come up and clean things up.
1st and 10 now out at the 33-yard line. And off this time, Flickinger, and D'Amico meets him back there in the backfield along with Hunter. And that'll be a short loss on the play as they're going to mark him a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage than I thought, but it's still going to be 2nd and long. So this will be 2nd and very long here for the Mansfield Tigers. Again, out of the pistol formation, Todd rolling towards the near side of the field, fires to Gross, caught shy of the 20-yard line. He'll put his head down, and J.J. Henry and Vinny D'Amico are right there.
They're going to keep the clock wound. Had forward progress stopped inbound, so the clock will continue.
They get him across the 20 to the 21-yard line. He'll bring up 3rd and right around 22 according to the scoreboard. Trips to the top of the field. Empty backfield. They'll actually have 4 to the top of the field. Gross by himself here on the bottom. Todd fading. Steps away from pressure, has a little room to run. Noah Casting comes up and runs him out of bounds before he could gain the 1st down, though, as he'll be knocked out of bounds 8 or 9 yards short, and it'll bring up 4th down.
I think this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time that I've mentioned that the Blue Streak secondary has done so well that Cameron Todd had no place to throw the ball. The problem is he's a good running quarterback, and once the Streak defenders had taken the pass away from him, he penetrated through the line and got very close to picking up that first down.
Mansfield in punt formation. Xavier Parker back to return the punt, standing at his own 32. And not a great punt. And it'll take a bit of a Blue Streak bounce as it'll check up at about the 41-yard line. So pretty decent starting position here for the Blue Streaks with 6:05 to play in the quarter.
That was a 9-iron for sure. That ball almost stopped on the first bounce and then started backing up. So to the Streaks' advantage, they're going to get pretty decent field position to begin with, and plenty of time in this third quarter.
Franklin will line up out of the shotgun with an offset eye back there with him, and we'll have a movement penalty against the Blue Streaks as one of the offensive linemen flinched.
It's probably not a good thing to do, to put your hands up against your head when you're going to get called for the penalty. Don't make it look obvious that you're the guilty guy. You know, they do in the NFL, they get them pointed at the other side. No, he moved.
That's right, it's never your fault. Same formation, they motion a man across. The handoff will go to Williams, looking for those blocks to set up, and just nothing there. Mansfield shuts it down.
A hole was there. There was a little bit of a crease to begin with, but the Mansfield Tigers are very good at pursuit, and that hole closed up in a hurry.
Out to the 37, so gain of a yard, 2nd and 14. This time a back on either side of Franklin. J.J. Henry takes the handoff across the 40 to the 41, and it's going to be 3rd and long for the Streaks.
That time I watched Mekhi Brown, the left tackle for the Blue Streaks, and he had Caudill. Boy, he just got into his chest. He didn't move him far off the line, maybe a yard or two, but he was so tight into him, Caudill could not get in on the tackle. And if he's a D1 player, he's going to go to the University of Toledo. It was second team all-district out of the Prep Writers Association.
Trips to the top of the field. Franklin fades, and I think one of the Blue Streak receivers flinched, and he did. False start against Sandusky. So that'll make it 3rd and 15.
And that's not what the Streaks want. They don't want to be behind the chains where they're forcing themselves to maybe have to come out and pass on every play. They would prefer to use the pass when it's there for them, but to run the ball as effectively as they normally do.
Sandusky changes up the formation, low snap. Franklin picks up the snap, has some room to run. He's going to pick up the first down for the Blue Streaks into Mansfield territory at about the 46-yard line is where they'll mark him.
And a very smart play by Mike Franklin. He knew the defenders were coming. He knew where the turf was, and he got down so that he didn't have to take any hits. Smart play. Great run.
That time he got past the initial wave of the defense, and the secondary was playing back deep that time.
Michael Franklin has kind of an instinct of knowing when to take off and run. He's not a great runner, not yet anyhow, because he's only a sophomore.
Well, and Coach Franklin again not too happy as they have to call a timeout, and I'm not sure if they didn't have the right players on the field.
They had 10 on the field,
yeah.
Counting them coming off. They were short a player.
So timeout number 1 here in the second half used by the Blue Streaks with 3:50 to play in the third quarter. Sandusky trailing by 3. You mentioned it a little bit at halftime. looking at the numbers and just the way the game feels, it feels like Sandusky's trailing by more than they are, but you punch it in the end zone here, they've got the lead.
Yeah, right. This third quarter has kind of almost turned that feeling around where things were kind of dismal in that first half, that plays were not going well, timeouts were taken early, and things didn't go well, but they were on the doorstep. Now this third quarter, they've been moving the ball, they've been a little more consistent, mixing the pass and run a little bit better, and they've got the potential now in this third quarter to take the lead. That's the thing. They're still here. They're in the ball game, only one score down.
They go back into that offset I formation out of the shotgun, and they will give it to Williams, who tries to bounce it and get the corner, and he has a little bit of room to run as he will get down near the 42-yard line of the Mansfield Tigers.
Now that time was just pure speed. Get to the outside and outrun the defense. The Streaks have not been able to turn that corner very often in this ball game.
Streaks will have three receivers to the top of the field. Again, it'll be Parker by himself, this time to the near side. Franklin fades, pumps, fires down the middle, and unable to pull it in is Caston, as he took a hit there at the end that broke up the pass from Angelo Gross.
I've just been interested in the Sandusky offensive tackles, and right now it's Havens at the left side. Did an awesome job of pass blocking on Clay Caudle of Mansfield, and didn't get anywhere near the quarterback, so he's providing time for Franklin to throw the ball downfield. And they almost pulled that one off.
3rd and long. Pass. JT Lewis pulls it down inside the 30, breaks a tackle, and gets down to the 25-yard line.
Well, that pass was a little bit high, but the receiver, Lewis, went up high to pull that one in, and then a nice slip by, a little bit of a short stiff arm. Got some extra yardage out of it. Almost broke it for the score.
1st and 10, Blue Streaks now at the Mansfield 25-yard line. So nearing the red zone for Sandusky. Franklin will take the snap, handoff Williams straight ahead, bounces into a defender and spins off of him, and will end up gaining 2 or 3 yards.
There's so much beef in the middle of that Mansfield line. It's real hard to get any movement off of those big guys. You can control them, but it's hard to push them off the line, and the little Blue Streaks have got to find a way to get around them.
We haven't really seen Mansfield miss many tackles here tonight either. Not in the run game anyhow.
And they pursue very well. They get extra players up there wherever the Streaks try to attack.
Franklin fades. Pressure coming from behind. Now he's going to tuck it, and he's going to get hit near the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 5 for the Blue Streaks.
Mansfield has a player down.
So we have a Tiger down on the field, and we will take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Blue Streaks. 2:07 to play here in the third quarter. A minute 48 and rolling. They started the clock, 3rd and 5 for the Blue Streaks. Empty backfield. Franklin pumps, steps up, gets hit as he throws and knocked down. Great job there by, I think it was Desmond Williams, who knocked that one away and actually became a defensive back and saved this field goal opportunity for Sandusky.
Yeah, Mike Franklin saw the opening, he wanted to take off, but that opening closed quickly, and then, as you said, he got hit as he tried to throw the ball, and that thing floated up there, and the defensive coordinator is going to be screaming, pick it off.
10th play of this drive is going to be a 37-yard field goal attempt. And we're going to have a timeout called by Mansfield Tigers, as I guess they're going to try and freeze the kicker maybe, as Isaac Roop, a 6'2" sophomore, will be on to attempt the field goal.
They had 12 guys on the field, so they figured, and they probably should have been called for being in formation with the extra guy on the field.
It's amazing how many times that officials do not make that call, or having 12 guys in the huddle, and they will give the offense the benefit of the doubt. But Roop from the left hash is going to attempt a 37-yard field goal. And watching him in warm-ups, he has plenty of leg to make it from here, but warm-ups with no rush compared to actual game situation, a little bit different. Remember, Sandusky had an extra point blocked early in the game when they scored their first touchdown. So here we go, Blue Streaks trying to even it up at 9 apiece. Good snap, the kick is on its way, plenty of leg, and it is no good. It'll stay Mansfield 9, Sandusky 6.
Well, the snap was good, the hold was good, it was down. It looked like the kick was good, but it must have been pulled a little bit to the left from where I was sitting. It looked good, but not under those uprights.
So Mansfield will get the ball from the 20-yard line with a minute 33 to play here in the third quarter. Blue Streaks turned away from tying it up, and it's back on the defense's shoulders. Sandusky defense has played well here today. They've only given up the one scoring drive. The safety was on a bad snap on a punt attempt. Flickinger will push forward to about the 25, so a good gain on first down. .6'4", 385-pound Jawan Irving was the player who was shaken up, and luckily he could get off the field under his own power, because I don't know who was going to move him. Good defensive play that time by London Havens as they bring Flickinger down at the 25-yard line. I'm just trying to picture how many trainers is it going to take to get a guy like Irving off the field.
We saw last week when Terrion Stewart carried one of his players off the field. I wanted to see one of the guys on the Mansfield team try to even pick that big guy up.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and 5. Another big play coming up for the Sandusky defense inside of 30 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Todd will line up in the pistol initially, and then they'll motion out of it. Jet motion for Gross. They'll give it to him on the jet sweep. He got past the initial wave of Sandusky defense and got the first down out to about the 32.
London Havens was there. He had the plate turned in, but he didn't break down, didn't lower his center of gravity, and tried to reach for the ball carrier who ran right by him and picked up that first down. That'll do it for the third quarter.
Down to 5 seconds and rolling. So we have played 3 quarters. Blue Streaks right there. They are trailing by 3 in this Division III Region 10 championship game here from Clyde. First play of the fourth quarter, 1st and 10. Mansfield from their own 32-yard line. Inside handoff and out to about the 38-yard line, it looks like, is where the carry will end. So a nice gain there on first down.
Yeah, Streaks don't want to be giving up 4, 5, 6 yards a crack. They've got to try to keep the running game down to 2 or 3 yards per carry if they're going to be able to get a stop. Same exact play. And
this time Robertson will stumble in the backfield as he's tackled by, the 36 or 37-yard line.
They call that the carpet monster. Got his toe bit by the carpet monster.
So they will mark him at the 36-yard line, so that's going to be a loss of yardage, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 7 now. 6th play of this drive, another big one defensively here for the Blue Streaks. Todd will give it to Flickinger, and he gets by the initial defender, but then Redding comes in and cleans him up, and it's going to bring up a 4th down here for Mansfield.
Now, that was the job the defense needed to do. They got the ball carrier down in 2 yards and then a loss of yardage, so they forced Mansfield into the punt, get the ball back into the hands of the Streak offense.
Parker standing back at his own 35-yard line. Again, keep in mind Angelo Gross is the punter for the Tigers. A little bit of pressure, got away a low line drive kick. Parker will let it go, and it'll roll down inside the 15, and it's going to be touchdown at about the 13-yard line. And Victory Kitchen would like to thank you for your continued support. May your holidays be filled with love, joy, and kindness. Please think of us in your giving and prayers. So the Blue Streaks going to start backed up in their own end here with 10:03 left to play.
And almost on every possession, the Blue Streak center, Dylan Pollard's the first guy out on the field. He's over the ball and ready to go. I like that out of the young man. Good hustle, positive attitude, get on the field, get your team ready to roll.
Well, the Blue Streaks,
too many men.
Yeah, they just had 12 guys in formation. Empty backfield. Mansfield creeping up, showing blitz, but not bringing the pressure. Pass to Noah Castenby. It's hit right away. Good break on the football that time. Pass is complete, though, out to, where they get Markham, the 18-yard line?
And that was Angelo Gross who came in over the top with the tomahawk attack. Tried to knock that ball loose, but Caston, strong hands, held on to it.
Noah Caston has come up big time and time again for the Streaks here in the playoffs. Had the big touchdown catch against Buckeye High School. Has a touchdown here today. Had a bunch of catches against Norwalk, and there picks up the first down out to the 25-yard line.
And it looks like right now the Streaks are content with attacking the soft part of the zone and the short hook area.
1st and 10, Blue Streaks.
And if Mansfield is willing to give you that, go ahead, take it. March the ball right on down the field.
Blue Streaks will have trips to the near side of the field. Now they'll go empty backfield as they'll send Caston up to the top of the field. Quick little screen. Xavier Parker looking for some room to run. And as Xavier takes it out to about the 28-yard line.
Sometimes kids get so excited about getting the ball in the open field that they want to see how fast they can run, and they outrun their blockers. And that was the case there. He had a couple of guys in front of him that were giving him decent blocks, but he took off too soon and ran right past the guys that could have helped him.
That was always my problem. I was just too fast.
Absolutely.
Again, they'll go empty backfield. This time they'll have trips to the top of the field.
And I was always the grunt blocking for you.
Franklin again fades, fires deep down the sideline. Has a receiver out there. It's J.T. Lewis inside the 30 and brought down near the 20-yard line. Another big gain through the air by the Blue Streaks.
I'll tell you what a pass that was, because Mike Franklin took a big hit at the end of that just before he got the ball off. And he still had enough arm on it to drop that ball in the bucket again. Bring some more life to the Blue Streaks.
Blue Streaks in the red zone now, 1st and 10. Again, they will go empty backfield. Franklin gonna run it right up the middle and able to gain a couple yards before he's brought down.
Yeah, quarterback draw can be a great play, particularly when you got a smart runner or a good runner like the Mansfield team does. But you have to allow the blocks to establish, and you have to allow the defensive linemen to get into their rush zones. If you go too soon, they're right there waiting for you.
Sandusky going to stay with the empty backfield look. 3 to the near side, 2 receivers to the top of the field. Franklin looking that way and can't pull it in. A little bit of a miscommunication over there as he was looking for Castile.
I'll tell you, Mike, that was a good pass. That was thrown low and towards the sidelines where nobody could get to it except for his receiver, Castile. The defense wasn't going to have any opportunity to intercept that pass. That was a well-thrown ball.
7th play of the drive is going to be a 3rd and 7. Blue Streaks at the Mansfield 17-yard line. 3 receivers to the top of the field this time, 2 receivers to the near side. They motion Caston across the formation. Franklin fires on the slant pattern and couldn't quite pull it in, just off the tips of the fingers of his intended receiver, Lewis.
Well, that was a good play. It was set up, it was there, just a matter of being able to catch that hot potato that's thrown at you. That one had a little extra mustard on it.
Well, here we go. We're going to have another field goal attempt, so Isaac Roop will have another chance to tie this one up. This time it is going to be from 34 yards. Clock stopped with 6:59 to play here in the 4th quarter. Good snap. Kick is away. Does it have enough leg? It does, and we are tied at 9 on the field goal from Isaac Roop.
That's clutch. That's a young sophomore. I'll tell you what, there's nobody more excited on that field right now than he is.
So we are tied at 9 apiece. We will take a break. Still 6:54 to play here in the 4th quarter. Sophomore kicker Isaac Roop gets Sandusky back to even here. We are all tied at 9 apiece in the fourth quarter. Franklin kicks it away. Fielded at about the 7-yard line. Room to run across the 30, across the 35, out across the 40, and pulled out of bounds at about the 42 or 43-yard line. Ellerby on the return. Good field position for the Tigers.
With the dangerous runners that they have in that kickoff return, I think I'd put it on the carpet. I'd bounce it down there, kick it deep, but try to upset the timing. Those guys can take it to the house on any given kickoff.
Well, the Blue Streaks defense has played very well here today. They'll actually mark them all the way out to the 44-yard line. So the defense will get another chance here to get a stop. Both teams with 2 timeouts left here in this tie ball game at 9 apiece in this Division III Region 10 championship.
That's a generous way to place it, Mike. They get a chance to get another stop. They have to make another stop. The defensive coordinator is going crazy right now.
Trips to the top of the field for Mansfield. They will motion Gross. They fake the handoff. Todd trying to elude pressure, stays in bounds, gets across midfield and pushed out of bounds inside the Blue Streak 45 to the 43.
The big difference right now is that through most of this third quarter, Mansfield was trying to run the clock. They ran the ball that last possession every play. Now that the score is tied, they cannot afford to just run the clock. They're going to have to try to score. So they become a little bit more of a dangerous ball club when you put the ball in the hands of Cameron Todd. And he just showed it there as he took off on the run.
1st and 10 Tigers inside of Sandusky territory. 6:36 to play. Todd, quick pass out to Gross. Gross puts his head down inside the 35 to the 33. Well, looks like they'll actually mark him just shy of the 33, so not going to quite have a first down here. Second down and a yard or so. Todd takes a snap, fires in the slot, and incomplete at the 30-yard line. Looked like he had it, but unable to pull it in. So it is 3rd and short.
I thought it was complete too, so it had to be Noah Caston as he came up, knocked the ball out of the receiver's hand. Right now they're just running all hooks. Everybody's going down the field 7 or 8 yards and then hooking back to the quarterback.
Mansfield out of the pistol. Handoff, Flickinger hit and pushed back. We'll see where the spot is on this. They are going to mark him at the 34, so it's going to be 4th down.
And that was Rashawn Redding. Made that first big hit.
We'll see what the Tigers do. Offense staying on the field. 5:30 and rolling here in the fourth quarter, tied at 9. The winner of this one takes on the winner of Aurora and Chardon in the state semifinal next weekend.
They're going to have to call a timeout. They're down to 6 seconds.
And Mansfield will use their second timeout. 1 left with 5:17 to play in a 9-all football game.
You know, I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, Mike, that Sandusky was probably going to get 2 more possessions in this fourth quarter, and they've already had 1. Mansfield now has to look at that themselves. This may be their last possession of the game, so they're going to have to go for this. It's too close for them to punt. It's too far away for their field goal. I haven't seen anything out of them, their kicking game. So they're going to have to go for it, and if the Streaks can come up here with a big stop, they'll be in the driver's seat. They'll have plenty of time to try to go down and get the game-winning score.
Maybe I'm a little biased, but I think if I'm Mansfield, I just take a knee.
I don't think they're going to do that.
No, probably not.
My years of analyzing will tell me they will not call that play.
4th and 1 for the Tigers.
They're going to go power I, isolation. They're going to run right behind those 2 big blockers.
Looks like maybe a quarterback sneak, and they will push forward with Todd, and he will get the first down. And the chains will move. 1st and 10 down to about the 31-yard line, looks like is where they're going to mark them.
Yeah, your quarterback 6 foot tall. If he falls forward, he's going to pick up 2 yards. There's no way to stop that. You got to cover the nose and cut gaps from the defensive line.
So 1st and 10, they set the chains, they wind the clock. We're inside of 5 minutes to play in a 9-all football game.
Plenty of time. The Streaks just have to come up with the stop.
Todd looking near side, firing, caught at the 25, at the 20, and pushed out of bounds. The pass complete to Angelo Gross down to the 18-yard line. Into the red zone for the Tigers.
And now that cushion becomes a little bit tighter. The Blue Streak defenders are not going to be so far off the receiver to worry about the going deep routes. And make it a little bit tougher for the quarterback to complete plays.
Tigers trying to get the Blue Streaks to jump there. Change the play. Play clock down to 5 seconds, though. Down to 2. They got the snap off, handoff to Robertson. He's wrapped up by London Havens, and then a couple of his teammates help him push him back.
Philip Hunter again in on the tackle with the help. The Streaks had 3 or 4 people there to plug that play up.
No gainers, 2nd and 10. 8th play of the drive. Three receivers to the top of the field. Out of the pistol. Todd fades, pumps, steps up. He's going to be hit, and he's going to be brought down, maybe a gain of a yard, down to the 16 or 17. Looks like they will mark him at the 16.
Big play here for the Blue Streaks. They've got to put the pressure on Mansfield to try to make the decision as to whether you want to go for it or try the field goal. They've got him in 3rd and very long.
3rd and about 9.
Shorten the cushions, make it tighter for him, make him go deep. Hope your line can get to the quarterback.
Todd, little quick screen out to Gross on the far side. That was
stepped out of bounds.
Going to put him out of bounds at about the 11-yard line, as that was Avion Gross on the far side of the field, and it'll bring up another 4th down. Clock stopped at 3:17 to play.
This one's a little tougher. It's not a matter of the quarterback falling forward for 2 yards. To have a 3rd down or 4th down and 3 or 4, I think it's time to go for the field goal.
And they will line up here for a field goal. They'll put the tee down on the 18, so this will be a 28-yard field goal attempt by Aiden Kreider. It's a senior, and delay a game. Play clock has run out.
They're going to give him the timeout. They're going to give him the timeout.
You know, I've just noticed both these teams, Bill, they've been running down to the very end of the play clock here during the game. I just noticed that up on the play clock, instead of going from 40 seconds at the end of the play, it's starting from 35 seconds. Well, they do give Mansfield the timeout.
Yeah, and I have no way to contest that. I can't see the sideline. You know, watching the play, I can't see when that timeout was called. I know that the clock was out before the flag came out. The time had already expired before the flag came out. So, but it's their judgment as to when the coach had made the timeout call to save the yardage.
Well, here we go. 28-yard field goal attempt from the right hash to give Mansfield the lead back. Good snap. The kick is low, and it is wide to the left. Blue Streaks will get it back with 3:13 to play from their own 20-yard line with 2 timeouts left.
Plenty of time, 2 timeouts, and all you got to do is get into field goal range. Rupp has kicked a couple of good balls. We know one went through, one was pulled to the side, but just give the kid one more chance.
So the Blue Streaks 80 yards away from possibly advancing on to the state semifinal for the first time since 1990. They were on the doorstep last year in a regional championship against the Norwalk Truckers at Bellevue and were unable to come away with the victory. We had a official's timeout for something there.
Well, that's going to give the Streaks more time to shift personnel around. But
play clock down to 10. Now Mansfield's defense is scrambling. Play clock at 5. Franklin fades, steps up, pressure coming. He'll be brought down for a sack into the backfield, back at about the 17-yard line, maybe the 18-yard line.
Franklin comes up limping. I think that's the first time they've gotten to him. I think that's the first sack of the ball game.
Second down and 12. 2:45 and rolling. Empty backfield. Yeah, Mansfield defense is scrambling there at the last second. Noah Caston across the 20 and brought down inbound shy of the 25-yard line.
Nice rub pattern coming off the guy going deep, broken off by Caston underneath to get the completion.
Out to the 24 is where they're going to mark him, so it's going to be 3rd and 6. About to hit the 2-minute mark. Play clock at 10. And now we'll have a timeout called by the Blue Streaks with 1:56 to play. Blue Streaks will be down to just 1 timeout left.
They've struggled with the alignments and personnel situations throughout the evening. But the fact that they've taken a lot of time in between snaps here ran a lot of time off the clock. This is probably going to be their last possession of the game unless their defense could pull off a big turnover in the last few seconds. But the good thing is you got the tie score, and if nothing else, you can go to overtime afterwards.
So look at the scoreboard here. Sandusky with 1 timeout left says Mansfield is out of timeouts. From the 24-yard line, it is a 3rd and 6 for the Blue Streaks. Again, they will shift personnel. Franklin has time, fires a receiver, fell coming out of his break. It was Noah Caston. Looked like he was going to be open, and he just slipped down, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
Even with the catch, he was going to have to be able to turn it upfield and do something with the ball after he caught it, because the pass would have been completed short of the 1st down marker. So Streak's going to have to punt it away inside of 2 minutes. Plenty of time for Mansfield, because they will get the ball back one more time.
Well, and keep in mind, Angelo Gross is a pretty dangerous guy to be punting the ball to, and he's going to head back to near his own 30-yard line, wants to give himself a chance to return this one, but he will let it hit, and it will take a Sandusky roll inside the 20, and it'll be down at about the 18-yard line with 1:42 left.
Well, I don't know how many times I've said it, but that guy that's back there deep, he has one job, and that's to catch the ball. 58-yard punt for Franklin, but he got probably about 30 of that on the roll. I exaggerate a little bit, but he probably did pick up 15 to 20 yards after that ball should have been caught. But that's to the Streaks' benefit. Now they've put Mansfield in a position where they've got to go a long way. Now the defensive line has got to pin back their ears and get after the quarterback. They've got to realize that all that Mansfield can do now is try to throw deep or spring one to their running back, who has not been a factor, really a big factor in the game so far tonight.
Well, it's on the shoulders of the Sandusky defense yet again. Empty backfield, 4 receivers to the top of the field, and they'll go quick screen and dropped on the far side of the field as they tried to go back to Avion Gross.
You know, and that shows you what the attitude of Mansfield is going to be here. They empty the backfield, which says we're going to throw the ball every play. And we're going to try to get the ball into the hands of guys that can make plays, break tackles, and see if they can bust one. Sandusky just has to remember to keep the ball in front of you and make the tackle once the ball is completed, and preferably tackle inbounds.
Same formation. Todd fades. Forced to his right, will fire on the run and will come up short of the intended receiver. Stops the clock with 1:32 left to play, and it is 3rd and 10.
Another big play for the Blue Streak defense. 3rd down and 10. Chance to get the ball back with maybe a minute and 1 timeout in their pocket.
See if you complete a pass here and you get tackled short of the 1st down, maybe the Blue Streaks have to use that timeout there to force a punt. Same formation. Blue Streaks bringing 4. Todd fires downfield, knocked away. Great defensive play by Desmond Williams, and it'll be 4th and 10 with 1:27 left.
And you're right, that was a fantastic play. He was on the back shoulder of the receiver. When he saw that ball, he broke on it and got in front and knocked the ball down. Great play. And get the clock stopped and save your timeout.
Blue Streaks will send Xavier Parker back to, looks like he's going to stand right around his own 45-yard line. Angelo Gross will take the snap from about his own 12. Gets away a high punt. It takes a Mansfield bounce, and it'll roll all the way down to the 30-yard line. So with 1:16 and a timeout left, Blue Streaks will have it back.
Well, the kick was high and short. And what you want your receiver to do is come up and fair catch it. But they chose to let it hit the carpet, and then when he had the big bounce where he could have picked it up and saved some yardage, he stepped aside and cost him another 5 or 7 yards. So all in all, it goes down to the 30-yard line. The Streaks have got to go 70 yards in 1:16 with that 1 timeout remaining.
Well, this has been a defensive struggle here in a 9-all tie.
Franklin's back at quarterback. Looks like he's moving a little bit better now.
Empty backfield again. Quick pass out to the wide side of the field. Castile will fight his way out of bounds, and that'll stop the clock with 1:10 to play out to about the 38-yard line.
And that was a smart job by Castile to keep his feet moving as the defender spun him around, headed to that sidelines, and saved that timeout for the Blue Streaks.
Streaks will have 3 receivers to the near side, 2 to the top of the field. Franklin steps, fires down the seam.
Holding, come on, there it is.
And there's the flag coming in from both sides, so that'll pick up some yardage for Sandusky as Noah Caston walking around with his jersey pulled off of his shoulder pad.
I was specifically watching him. I wanted to see what kind of route he was going to run, and he took off with a little bit of a head fake and ran past the defender, and that defender just reached out and pulled his jersey, not once but twice, and drew all those flags. So that's going to be defensive pass interference, marked off from the previous spot. Going to be a 15-yard penalty.
So they will put it down at the Mansfield Tigers 47-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 Blue Streaks. A minute 5 left to play. Sandusky still with the timeout. Franklin firing over the head of his intended receiver. And luckily, both defensive backs broke on the receiver, and that ball kind of fluttered over everyone's head.
Yeah, that's a long pass, and Franklin has been high on some of those sideline passes. And you're right, the Streaks were fortunate that the two Mansfield guys got in each other's way and caused that pass to be incomplete. So they still have a minute on the clock, lots of time, and they've got to pick up about 20 or 30 yards to have a realistic shot at that field goal.
Play clock down to 5. You don't want to burn your last timeout, and they do have to burn their last timeout to keep the play clock from running out.
It's tough to have all your people out over here on this near side closest to us, the press box, and then run guys all the way out to the other side because the ball's at the far hash mark. And to run out there with the plays once they've gotten it, got to be a better way to communicate.
Well, exactly 1 minute left to play. It is Sandusky 9, Mansfield 9 in this Division III Region 10 championship game. The winner advances on to a state semifinal in Division III to take on either Aurora or Chardon. And not really sure where that game would be played if it's the Sandusky Blue Streaks. I know the Huron Tigers played Aurora in Lakewood back in 1998, but Lakewood Stadium is being resurfaced, returfed, so that isn't a possibility, but you would imagine it would be out in that direction as Aurora and Chardon are both east of Cleveland.
Byers Field would be a possibility,
Parma.
halfway in between.
Empty backfield. Franklin fades, fires down the sideline and incomplete out at the 20 as he was looking for Castile. And it'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Well, this is a big call for the Blue Streaks. They have no timeouts, and again, they're all coming over to the sideline to where coach is located. And that play clock is already running.
Yeah, that's a new rule in high school football this year. As soon as the play ends, they wind the play clock from 40 seconds. Play clock all the way down to 5 already. Down to 3. Down to 1. They get it off. Jet sweep. Noah Caston takes a big hit from Angelo Gross across the 45-yard line. And 45 seconds and rolling. Can't let the clock run out here. They'll either have to take a snap or take a penalty.
Well, they'll probably let it run down as far as they can. They can get it down inside of 8 seconds, I think, is the differential, and then go ahead and punt it after the penalty.
From the 44, it is 4th and 7.
And they're going for it.
Franklin going to load up and fire downfield for J.T. Lewis. He got knocked down by the defender, no flag, and incomplete. So Mansfield will get the ball back with 6 seconds left to play, and they'll have it at their own 44-yard line.
Well, Mansfield has been running a lot of all hooks. This time it's going to be all go. Send everybody deep and try to throw it down to the end zone.
Well, got to watch out here. Maybe hook and lateral type play might be in their playbook as well. First and 10 from the 44. Empty backfield. Four receivers to the top of the field. Todd fades, pressure, hit as he throws.
Picked.
Intercepted by the Blue Streak, Xavier Parker back at the 15-yard line, and that'll do it for regulation. We are heading to overtime, tied at 9 in this Division III Region 10 championship. We'll take a break and be back with overtime number 1. Well, back here at Clyde, about to start overtime number 1. It is going to be Sandusky Blue Streak ball first. And again, high school overtime. Each team will get a possession starting from the 20-yard line. And the Blue Streaks will have it first. And we could go all night here the way things have been going. It's been a defensive battle, a 9-9 tie. Franklin will start with Williams to his left. Low snap, fakes the handoff to Williams. Oh, excuse me, that was J.J. Henry who got to the 19 and then took a big shot. So that'll bring up 2nd and 9.
So that was Sandusky's Wildcat because Franklin was in the ball game.
J.J. Henry will come to the sideline. And it looks like they're going to go back to their empty backfield. Franklin pumps, now rolling right. Now he'll tuck it and run. The ball comes loose. Recovered by Castile down inside the 10. It's going to be 1st and goal, Blue Streaks. Just like they drew it up.
Wow. Being in the right place at the right time. And the good thing is they don't have that NFL rule where a ball that gets fumbled forward by the offense goes back to the spot of the fumble in the NFL. But not in high school. It's a free ball. Anybody can pick it up. So the Streaks get their 1st down, and they're now at 1st and goal to go.
And again, they will go back into more of a Wildcat look here with Henry and Williams in the backfield. The handoff this time, Williams. Hesitation move, hit at the 9 and able to fall forward and maybe end up getting a yard down to the 7.
One of those defensive backs for Mansfield, boy, they come up in a hurry. When they read run, they come up, and they come up angry, and they make tackles hard. That time, Sandusky had the corner turn. They had the opening. Just couldn't continue the momentum towards the end zone.
2nd and goal. They mark them right back at the line of scrimmage, so the 8-yard line. This time Henry is going to be split out wide to the right. Play clock is down to 5. Each team did get a timeout back in overtime, and the Blue Streaks, did they use the timeout or did they take the penalty there?
They're going to give Coach the timeout, I believe.
Let's see. Yep, it will be timeout, Blue Streaks. Well, Mansfield jumped up 9-0 in this one. They scored on a safety on a play where the play clock was running down on the Blue Streaks and the snap was low, and I think the punter was looking away. The snap went into the end zone. It was a safety. And Mansfield scored a touchdown, kicked the extra point, and we're up 9-0. Blue Streaks score in the first half was a 55-yard touchdown pass from Michael Franklin to Noah Caston. The extra point was blocked. That made it 9-6, and we wouldn't get another score until the 4th quarter when Isaac Roop would make a field goal from 34 yards away to tie us up at 9 apiece. Blue Streaks get both teams really had a couple chances towards the end of the game. Blue Streaks get an interception on the last play of regulation to force overtime. And here we are in overtime. It is 2nd and goal from the 8 for Sandusky in their first possession. Franklin, quick pass to Lewis. Caught it, hit, and tackled almost immediately by Miles Bradley.
Yeah, there wasn't even time for the wideout to get a block. And here comes everybody over to the sidelines again.
He was able to at least fall forward. So 3rd and goal from, looks like the 7. Play clock at 10. Play clock at 4. Franklin takes the snap, firing towards the end zone, tipped, and Parker can't quite get there on the back line, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
Got to kick the field goal. You got to put points on the board.
Fourth and goal, Isaac Roop is going to put the tee down at the 14, so it'll be a 24-yard attempt from the near hash. He missed just left from 38, made one from 34. Kick is blocked by the Mansfield Tigers, so the Blue Streaks will come away without a score on their first possession. So now all Mansfield needs is a field goal to win it.
Well, the pressure's been on the Streak defense the entire second half, so nothing changes here. The Blue Streak defense going to have to stiffen. Try to hold Mansfield to 3 plays and hope that they can force him into a long field goal attempt.
Only the offense can score in high school in overtime possessions. That's a different rule from college where the defense can score. So here we go, Mansfield from the 20-yard line. Two receivers to the near side, a back on either side. Handoff. Still on his feet, Gross down inside the 10 to the 9. It is 1st and goal, Tigers.
They got to finish the tackles. They had him stopped for a yard or 2 gain, but Gross kept his feet churning and got underneath the tackler and took it down into the 9-yard line for 1st and goal.
First and goal, Mansfield. So now the Blue Streaks defense really has to come up with a stop here. Handoff up the middle, Flickinger. It'll be 2nd and goal from about the 6.
I don't think you're going to see anything fancy out of Mansfield. They're going with that 2-back set. They're going to run the ball.
Handoff, left side. Streak defense is there this time. Going to mark them at about the 5-yard line where it'll be 3rd and goal.
Noah Caston was the guy who came up from the secondary, put the big hit on. Forced Mansfield into a 3rd down and goal. Now it's a matter of where do you want the ball to try for the field goal. Run the ball to wherever it is that you're most comfortable with your kicker kicking from. If you get the touchdown, great. If not, you send your kicker in.
Handoff on the counter. Pushing towards the end zone and into the end zone. The Mansfield Tigers have advanced on to the Division III state semifinal. Final score, Mansfield 15 and Sandusky 9. For the second straight year, the Blue Streak season will end in the regional championship game, and this time it is going to be a heartbreaker in overtime. Well, Bill Needham, it's a tough way for the Blue Streak season to end, but their defense kept coming up big, and this time just couldn't quite do it.
Anytime that you lose a game, there's a lot of other things that you can look at that were the reason why you lost. Sometimes you almost wish that the other team was so good they beat you 50-0, and you'd walk away and say, well, they were just better than us today. But when you play a tight game like this, everything gets magnified. You know, the safety, giving up 2 points early in the ball game, the missed extra point. If either of those things don't happen, Sandusky wins the game in regular time. So they'll go back and they'll look at this game and realize that they played a tremendous game. They fought back in the second half and got involved. We said they won the second half 3-0. The defense played strong. The offense was just a little bit under the weather, particularly when they lost their star running back, Terrion Stewart. Put a little bit more pressure on the sophomore. But this streak team, they'll be back. There's a lot of talent on that team. They'll be ready for next season. Coach Franklin will get the squad ready to go for the next campaign. 2 years in a row, regional runner-up, not too shabby.
Yeah, and you talk about having to overcome Terrion Stewart's injury here today. Let's not forget they overcome losing their starting quarterback, Chauncey Aaron, in that game against Fremont Ross. And what a great job that J.J. Henry did stepping in, and then Michael Franklin eventually does stepping in during the course of the year, and they build a lot of experience there at that quarterback spot moving forward.
Now you got a sophomore playing a quarterback who plays in big games in the playoffs. That's going to do a lot for his development in the future. We know they've got some good running backs coming back, some of these young guys that have played in this game. So it's a matter of finding those big linemen again that you can block and create the holes, but the streaks will be back.
Well, and for the Mansfield Tigers, for the first time in their school history, they are regional champs. They're moving on to the state semifinal. Coming into this game, they were just coming into this year, they were just 2-8 all time in the playoffs. So they've won more games so far this year than the school had done in the history of the high school football playoffs.
And that's got to say a lot about the Mansfield community. These young guys talked about how they played together since they were young. They thought they would have the good team developing, and it's come to fruition, and they played a good ball game tonight.
Well, that is going to do it for our coverage of high school football, and it's going to do it for our coverage of the fall sports season, as we will be on to winter sports season as girls basketball got underway today. Swimming will get underway next week. Boys basketball will get underway next week, and then wrestling as well, and we will be full-blown into winter sports season next time you hear from us. So for my partner Bill Needham, our director Eric, and our cameraman Robert, who braved the elements up on top of the press box here tonight, I'm Mike Lilge saying thanks for joining us, and as always, we are brought to you by Dewey Furniture and Carpet. Don't forget BCSN and the BCSN Now app, seen only on Buckeye Broadband.
We wanted to really celebrate our harvest and the fact that we are right now in the process of harvesting our grapes, doing our crush, and making our wine for the year. And what better way to do that than to involve the community? And we definitely love our first responders and our local heroes, so we wanted to make them a part of it. We started our morning with a 5-mile vineyard run, and we went into a grape stomp competition between the Sandusky Police Department and some volunteers for the Sandusky Fire Department. Police Department was victorious today, but we're waiting for next year.